Welcome to the Socks Gone podcast, where we unravel the secrets of exceptional customer service and show you how to knock your customers' socks off. Tune in, get inspired, and take your service to the next level. Socks Gone, where our socks are always knocked off.
Welcome back to the Socks Gone podcast. Really excited to be here today. By the way, where our socks are always knocked off. Very special guest today. Very excited to have him here, who's already admitted that his socks are gone. So I am really excited. So I got a special pair of socks actually here today that is going to be a gift. And C-3PO, droid, we watched Star Wars back in the day and we thought, wow, one day, right? Well, here we are, 2025, droids are taking over, also known as AI, artificial intelligence. So I have a special guest here from Broccoli today, Broccoli AI, who specializes in AI CSRs, AI call center. So really excited to have Ryan here. He's going to tell us a little bit about his journey in the trades, how he got to where he is today, share some stories about how he's knocking customer socks off, and then how he can help you knock your customers' socks off. So without further ado, really excited to have you here today, Ryan. Let's start off with your journey, your story. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Corey. Glad to be here. Welcome, everyone. And I'm Ryan Keenan. I am, I've been in the trades for 10 years. And prior to that, I was in consumer products, traveled all over the world, was director of sales for this really kind of famous company that, it was like a jet setting lifestyle. Started a family and then got into the trades because it could be localized, right? But I think going way back, who am I? What do I do right now? Okay, so I'm a business development advisor here at Broccoli. And what that basically means is that, we just talk about how we can implement AI into your business, what it can do for you. And, we'll get into that a little bit later on in this interview, I'm told. But also, kind of my resume, if you will, is that I started as an account executive, a founding account executive with ServiceTitan. Everybody's familiar with ServiceTitan, right? Hopefully a lot of you are using it because it's definitely the best software. And so, I started with them and then helped them to scale to hundreds of millions, and now they're worth billions. They've IPO'd, just in case you didn't know. So that's a big deal, big news for the trades. It means a lot because that means that you've got a lot of investors, bankers, things like that. They're looking at the trades as a, viable investment opportunity. Great for everyone. And then after that, I transitioned to Power Selling Pros, which is a CSR coaching company. And that's obviously at the heart of customer service. And I think that's the theme of this podcast is, how customer service is, how you differentiate yourself and what that can mean for you as a, competitive advantage. And so after working as a coach and trainer and business developer at Power Selling Pros, and I find myself here at Broccoli.
Awesome. I love it. I love the journey. What's one of your favorite things right now? What's one of your favorite things about working in the trades or about the trades?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it always comes down to the people. It's funny that we're going to be talking about a non-human when we're talking about AI in this conversation. So please don't consider it as like a hypocrisy or a contradiction already. Oh my gosh, you're shooting yourself in the foot, man. But I think it comes down to the people. We're talking about salt of the earth. Just good people that, have good upbringings. And I think, I consider myself, I put myself in that boat. Right. And, we really got to be grateful for what got us to be here. Right. And what led us to this point. So I think that what really makes me proud to be in the trades is to represent people that are hardworking, that have good ethics, and a strong moral compass. And myself, I was raised Christian, and so that's who I am, and that's what I identify as.
Love it. Awesome. Well, we're going to get into the socks gone moment, your story. You're going to share a story of how you're knocking customer socks off. One story in particular. So I'm excited to hear that. But before we get it, well, you know what? Yeah, let's start with the story, because then we'll get into how you can help others knock their customer socks off. And then I'd like to hear more about Broccoli and what Broccoli's doing and how it's transforming the trades and helping contractors. Helping contractors create great customer experiences, by the way. And I never thought I'd hear myself say that when it came to AI, right? That, hey, we're going to use AI because, you think back just a few years ago, you'd say, oh, I got to talk to the robots, right? I just think, and actually I've just had some customer experiences recently where they're still using the old, the old robots, the old AI, and it's miserable. And everyone's just pounding zero, like, get me to a person, right? And that's what people think about when they hear about an AI call center, if they don't know about Broccoli and AI and what it's come to today, what it's become. They think, oh God, I would never use that. That's horrible, right? But you're going to learn today, you can actually create great customer experiences. You can knock your customer socks off with artificial intelligence, with AI CSRs. So excited to hear about that. But before we get into that and how Broccoli can help you and the listeners out there knock more socks off, let's hear your socks gone moment, Ryan. Just share a story where you knocked a customer socks off with your services.
All right, awesome. So this wasn't too long ago. Actually, it was, I would say, maybe 2 years ago, roughly. And this is when I was working at Power Selling Pros. We had a customer that was looking for some CSR training, and it's all about customer service, right? And so they reached out, and I was talking with them about it. What it is that they're looking for, and the owner, I think it was a Mr. Electric franchisee, and he was saying that his CSR needs some training, some coaching, and we need to make sure that we need to fortify the front lines kind of mentality, right? And that's great, because that's the way that you bring in new business, right? Is the front lines. So we call them gatekeepers sometimes, right? So he's like, yeah, I'm interested. And then we got to talking a little bit more about what it was that kind of was holding him back, right? And he's like, hey, and I asked him, how are we going to define success for this? How are you going to know if this was going to be successful or not, this training? And he said, well, I've used Service Titan, and I can track their, call booking score. And so why don't we use that KPI? I said, great. Yeah, let's do that. How's your data in Service Titan? I mean, is it reliable? Is it trustworthy? He's like, I know, no, it's not. And I think that's a problem. It's a pretty common problem. And that's, a lot of people know that, right? And it's because of self-reporting. And that's a human condition, right? Mm-hmm. You have to report that you're classifying the call. It's booked, it's unbooked, it's excused. What is the reason why it's excused? Dispositioning that. And so because of that, there's bad data in and bad data out. right? And so that was part of the problem. And so in addition to the training package that he purchased, I said, you know what? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to actually train your CSR how to properly disposition calls in Service Titan so you can clean up your data. And then you can establish a baseline from knowing that, hey, from day one, this is going to be clean data, and you know where you're at, and then you know how successful it's been over the course of time. So that was just, I think, what Walt Disney called the +1, right? The +1 philosophy. And it's like going above and beyond, the unexpected, and just offering it out there, and then not really seeing anything in return, you know? And I think there's a lot of these common stories in trades of people doing that, you know? And they're like, oh, you know, I mean, that's their story, right? But this customer needs more. You know, I mean, I've heard something as simple as just bringing in the garbage barrels for the old lady, you know, up the driveway to where she keeps them, you know, on the side of the house, right? And or bringing in the mail, or, you know, whatever it is that is the +1 philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just doing that without being asked is definitely a socks off moment. So that was one, but I'm going to even do one +1. And following with that same trend, and so that Walt Disney +1 mentality. It doesn't have to be for business; it can be in life too. Absolutely. And so another socks off moment was when, you know, I took a group of customers out to dinner in Las Vegas, and it was a Japanese restaurant, and I happen to, you know, speak Japanese. So,
awesome.
I was just, you know, ordering in Japanese, and I was, you know,
hold on. Can you say, "You knock my socks off" in Japanese?
That's a tough one.
Not to put you on the spot.
Kutsushita, agat. Shimashita.
Love it.
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. So socks in Japanese is kuchushita.
Kuchushita.
Kutsushita. Yeah, it's and literally translated, kutsu is shoes,
Kutsu,
and shita is below. And so it's interesting that they say it's below shoes.
Below shoes.
Translation.
Gotcha.
That's so funny. Okay, so took them out in Las Vegas, and then just was, you know, ordering all these things, all these dishes, and it's all family style, you know. So everybody's sharing, and, you know, hey, try this and do that. And after that, every time we go to Vegas, they're always like, hey, can we go back? Let's do that again. And so, you know, when you have that in a reaction, that's a socks off moment, man. You knock their socks off.
Absolutely. They want to keep coming back.
Exactly.
Again and again. No, that's great. I love it. I love it. Can you share? Now, I know, and we'll get into the, you know, how you're helping people knock socks off today with Broccoli. But just share, because I know when I first demoed Broccoli, my socks were knocked off. Is that a common occurrence that you see? I know you demo this for a lot of customers. Tell me about some of the reactions you get from customers that never experienced an AI CSR like Broccoli has. Tell me about that.
Well, everybody has expectations, you know, and I think their expectations are rooted in the prior kind of old guard of AI experiences where, you know, it's the cable company, it's the credit card company, it's their banking institution, it's, you know, their wireless provider. All of those terrible AI experiences, I think, set the precedent for what their expectations are. And I think everybody, including myself, before I joined Broccoli, had those same expectations. Like, I don't know if this is, you know, going to be any good. And so to go from that expectation to what level of experience that they can have with Broccoli,
Mhm.
and they actually test calls. You can do that on our website, by the way. So go to broccoli.com and, go scroll down about halfway through down the page, or you can just go and at the top, there's a link and it says, try it out. And actually, I'll tell you exactly what it says. It says live demo. So yeah, you can go ahead and try that out and experience it for yourself. Get your socks knocked off, right? To what your expectations are to what it should be. But I think one of the proof of that happening is not only for you doing it yourself, but also what your customers are going to think, right?
Yeah.
And how your customers are going to think is oftentimes how you would believe that it was actually maybe even human, right? And it's I think that is the point where somebody's socks get knocked off, where they're like, am I talking to a human?
Yeah.
So that transformation from where it was, and here's the crazy part, right, Corey, is that really about a year ago, this wasn't even possible. AI is moving so fast that you think about all the billions of dollars of investment, R&D, that's being put into AI and how quickly it's evolving. That is, AI a year ago is not what it is today. We're talking exponentially better. And so I think we have to keep our minds really open as potential consumers here of this service, as okay, I'm expecting it to be a year from now, again, exponentially better. There's these leaps and bounds of progress that are happening. And then plus on top of that, it's learning on its own. So you just think about that. I mean, and it never sleeps. It's 24/7, right? So it's just mind-boggling what kind of progress is going to be made and what progress already has been made. Talk about a socks off moment, man. It's just like
Absolutely. That is great. One thing I want to touch on too before we move on is you mentioned that, knocking socks off isn't just in business, right? It's in life. It's not just with our customers, but it's also with our colleagues and our employees. If we're knocking our customers' socks off, but our employees' socks are still on, that's not a good thing, right? Because we know if our employees' socks are missing, they're going to do a better job of knocking their customer socks off. But a step farther than that is, hey, if we're doing a great job of knocking socks off in our companies and at work, our employees, our customers, but we come home and our wife's socks are still on or our kids' socks are still intact, that's not a good thing, right? So I'm glad but hey, that happens sometimes, right? We're killing it at work, but we're knocking socks off everywhere else, but in our family. So just something I wanted to highlight there is, man, first and foremost, make sure your family socks are knocked off. You want to be creating those moments every single day for your family, first and foremost, and then beyond that, your friends, and of course at work. So awesome. All right, well, let's dive in to Broccoli. So now we want to talk about how you're helping others. How is Broccoli helping others? Yeah, you shared a little bit there, but I want to get a little bit more into what Broccoli's doing for home service contractors to create these great experiences.
All right, so let's just kind of level the playing field, because that's exactly what Broccoli is doing. It's creating an opportunity. It's democratizing the customer service experience for every contractor out there, which is crazy. You think about, the large firms, the consolidators, the, private equity, like all of those massive institutions utilizing technology like this. And then that same technology is available to, a $2 million contractor compared to $100 million contractor. Like, wow. Okay. So that gives a lot of promise, a lot of hope to, I think, everyone. And I think that's at the heart of our mission, right? Is to democratize this customer service experience that is premium,
Mhm.
right? And what that does for a everyone in this case, because it's for everyone, is that it really, I mean, at the heart of it, it's designed to be able to resolve or eliminate missed opportunities in business. And missed opportunities really add up. Like, okay, I was just thinking about this. I'm a little bit of an old school guy. So, we had piggy banks back in the day, right? And so you just take the change from your pocket and you put it in the piggy bank, and then, you go to the bank, and then you find out how much you got, and you're kind of surprised. You're like, oh my goodness, wow, I didn't realize that all that pocket change actually could add up so much. Now, banks and everything, my bank is, every time I use my ATM card, it's a, take the change, keep the change, and then it deposits in my savings account. I can see, let's say at the end of the year, how much of that extra actually added up, and it's something significant at that point, right? And these little missed opportunities in everyone's business, it's going to happen, right? If you don't have an after hours or an overflow system in place, right? If you have something in place, then you're evaluating what the efficacy of that solution is, right? Is it still, as there's still a bunch of slippage there, or can that be shored up? Now, here's what Broccoli's doing. It's ensuring that, and everybody that knows ServiceTitan knows this term, there are never any more abandoned calls ever in your ServiceTitan instance. And that's a beautiful thing, because that means that all of those opportunities that would have slipped through the cracks, those missed opportunities, are now secured, right? And if they're not secured, there's let's just say it's an unbooked call, right? Broccoli AI takes the after hours call, it goes unbooked for some reason. You're going to be able to know why. Of course, you don't even have to go necessarily read through this transcript, because there's going to be an actual tag to identify why it was unbooked. And you're going to know all of your top unbooked reasons, so that if you need to, you can fine tune, make little adjustments, recalibrate. And in addition to that, Broccoli's customer support will even help you with those insights. We're consultants as well. And so that is really what we're all about, is eliminating slippage in your business, right? And when it comes to those after hours and overflow calls, what's the alternative?
Poor customer service is the alternative. Been doing this a long time, and it's sad but true. And you could tell me your thoughts on this when it comes to, and look, again, there's some good ones out there. All right. And I haven't listened to them all. And I'm sure there's some that's come up maybe even this year that are starting to figure it out. But throughout my journey in the trades, being a regional manager, GM, CXO, in looking for third-party resources to handle after-hours calls, I've developed in-house after hours, right? But looking for sources that are third-party that are going to take great care of my customers, very, very difficult. And I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one that I would listen to those call recordings. I would be like, wow, they're really knocking my customer socks off. And I just wondered to myself, why don't they train their CSRs like we train our CSRs, right? And so, yeah, what's the alternative? Poor customer service is the alternative. And yeah, when you start looking into it and when you're looking at your return on investment, your ROI, versus maybe building an in-house after hours call center, right? Which you might be able to staff, which is good. And I recommend that. Depends on the customer and their size, what they're trying to do, where you can cover some hot spots, from like 6 to 8 p.m. In-house. That's great, right? But then having Broccoli as that overflow and then to cover the rest of those gaps is going to be key. And I think the biggest thing, as Ryan mentioned, is speed of answer. speed of answer is so key. That's what creates your abandoned calls. Customers that are sitting there and they're waiting. If you look at the facts, below 15 seconds is what you want your speed of answer. When you start pushing 20 seconds, 25 seconds, your abandon rate increases dramatically. When you hit 30 and above, the amount of business you're losing is sickening. So very, very important to understand that, and Broccoli can help that. So Ryan, with all that said, are you telling contractors they need to get rid of their human CSRs and just use AI CSRs?
No, we're really the best positioned right now for after hours and overflow. We really want to make sure that the perception is that AI is a great assistant. It's great at that. It's being able to support your existing CSR team and relieve the burden on a lot of what's happening, when they're actually not able to be there, right? So relieving a lot of that burden, taking the work, and minimizing it, and also streamlining, the operations. And so there's a lot of workflows that Broccoli, and we can, if you all want to go to broccoli.com and then just, check out a demo, that would be the best way that you can see those workflows in action. We can actually show you those in a live demo. But to reduce the workload on your team, because everybody knows, look, right here, whenever, your podcast is published, we're coming up on, peak season for HVAC contractors, especially. And, your team's going to be pushed to the limit, right? And you're going to be burning everybody out. And it happens year over year during the peak season. For some contractors, it's winter. For others, it's summer, and for some, it's even both, right? And so this is a blessing to your team. It really is going to help them to operate at peak performance themselves with an AI assistant to support them. But definitely, you've got your core team. Hopefully you're giving them, training to be at their best, which is what Corey just mentioned. And we also want to make sure that they're supported in other ways too, with relieving those burdens. And so that's exactly where, if you talk about the niche in the industry that Broccoli resides in, that's the niche right there.
Love it. And what makes Broccoli stand out from the competition?
Yeah, so I think you should probably try them all, really, just to see what it's all about and which one works best for you. Mm-hmm. Definitely due diligence is always encouraged. So the thing that really stands out, though, is that we've got these, and I talked about them, just a moment ago, but these workflows that are built into, especially, in terms of the integration with ServiceTitan. We're an official technology partner with ServiceTitan, and it's a seamless integration. It's beautiful. I mean, I look at it and my socks are blown off, right? With the actual way that Broccoli can actually pull information out of ServiceTitan, know when we're talking to a member, for example, and, being able to identify what types of opportunities there are, and, prioritize things, in terms of, knowing that some calls are more valuable than others. I mean, Broccoli being able to do that based on the information that can be extracted from ServiceTitan, or, based on the way that Broccoli is programmed, it's mind blowing. Again, just will knock your socks off. So that's why I would encourage you to, definitely check out a demo, because you're going to be absolutely surprised. It's something that I never thought possible, but this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. Did it? I think it probably should be said, Broccoli is only a 10-month-old company, right? Imagine that. And all of these very complex, sophisticated, dynamic workflows that are built in. And then on top of that, I mean, something that just kind of stands out that's, like a feature that, if people like to kind of like stack features, hey, how do you compare, pros and cons if we want to make a list? Definitely, I would say also Broccoli is at the forefront of the outbound experience as well. And so this is another area that, especially when we're going into busy season, even when you're targeting, shoulder season and you want to fill the dispatch board, outbound is a great way to do that, right? It's very taxing on your team if you have your team outbound as well as inbound, right? It's almost like a different skill set. They're, the most sophisticated organizations, they have an entirely different outbound team than they do inbound team. Now, there are, of course, unicorns that can do both, right? But realize that to be effective extremely effective at both, I mean, it does really take that kind of unicorn status. And then so that was just talking about shoulder season, how you can fill the dispatch board and keep your technicians busy and remain profitable. But then also in the busy season, the reality is all the follow-up that you need to do, most are not. It's like, hey, if I'm not making that sale on site, or maybe I make one follow-up phone call. No, let's be realistic here. Oh, hey, we had that consultation. We dropped off a quote. Would you like to move forward? I mean, whatever your script is, and if you're doing that, I mean, right there, you're already probably ahead of the game. But to have an entire call sequence, a cadence, that is the best in sales practice, best practice in sales outbounding, that goes so much further. How many touch points do you have to make before you actually are able to reach the customer, or before you're actually able to have a, follow-up conversation with them, right? Maybe it takes 2 calls where you have to, talk with them. And I think, the reality is in the home services industry is that not a lot of contractors, not a lot of operators are prepared for that. And Broccoli's providing that world-class experience. And it all comes down to customer service, really, at the end of the day, right? How well are you serving your customers? What technology are you leveraging to do that? So yeah, try out Broccoli. I think you'll be very impressed.
That is amazing. One thing I remember you mentioning to me is that all in-house engineers, which I think is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
You have anything in-house, right? When you have that in-house ability to customize things, I think that makes it special as well. And I don't think everybody can say that, right? So that's a cool thing about Broccoli as well.
Yeah, we're based in San Francisco, by the way. So that's why being in like the Silicon Valley type of environment, where there's a tech boom, and it's always resided there. And of course, there's other places springing up for tech booms, but just having all those resources available to us allows us to have in-house engineers.
Yeah, that is so cool. So excited to see the future of Broccoli and AI. Broccoli is a partner of Sock Knocker, so we're excited to team up and just continue to help knock customers' socks off. So Ryan, really appreciate your time today. This has been an awesome interview. I know you provided a ton of value to everybody listening. Yes, cheers.
Cheers.
So what we're going to do is I'll go on and post a link for Broccoli so they can go on there, get the demo. So we'll have that on our social media platforms and on the podcast platforms. We'll have that there. Again, just so excited to see where this is going to go. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Socks Gone podcast. Again, thank you so much, Ryan, with Broccoli AI. Our socks are always knocked off, and we want yours to be too. So make sure you tune in for our next episode. We'll see you soon.
Socks Gone, where our socks are always knocked off.